What's up, guys? Peter from Panda here. Hey, got a watch delivered and I just checked it out and wanted to show it to you. It's by Ferro and Company. It's a Ferro watch here, and what is cool about it is Ferro's been around. I think they started on Kickstarter, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, a town I love. Someone please invite me up to Vancouver and show me around. Love my Canadian friends. But this one is the Ferro Airborne Mechaquartz gray face, black strap, titanium case watch, and I love it, dude. So first of all, it comes in this box. It's plastic. It's pretty small. It's actually a smaller presentation than I would have thought. For a $350 watch, I thought, you know, I didn't really know what to expect. And I've never had a Mechaquartz before, so this is my first one. So I'll tell you a little bit about Mechaquartz, but it comes just like this, presented pretty nicely. You know, I'm not disappointed with the presentation. And let's take this off here. There's a little plastic on the front. Looks like there's a little plastic on the back. And let me start with the table stake stuff. I like this leather band. It's, you know, slightly textured but smooth-ish. It doesn't taper. Looks like it's 20... Ooh, it doesn't say. Looks like it might be 24 millimeters is my guess. But I like it. I like that it's all black. It's just badass. Kind of thin retention straps here. And then the clip here, which says Ferro, F-E-R-R-O, like in kind of that Ferrari-like font, is titanium. And you can tell because it's light. It's hard to tell if it's hard, but it's light. And the case is titanium, and it's kind of this grayish, you know, matte brushed finish. And it's light, I think, because of that. So one of the things that I saw is, you know, I didn't get in Ferro on their Kickstarter. It was one of those things where I saw it. I really kind of liked the design. I was intrigued by it. It was kind of a speed style watch. The Airborne is supposedly more of an aviator style watch. They have another one that's kind of more of a Porsche inspired watch. But I actually like this one, even though I like cars. You know, I'm not big into planes per se. This one kind of spoke to me because it was a chronograph. Now, it does have some arrow hints here, sword style hands, which is kind of reminiscent of aviation gauges. There's a plane silhouette right up there. It's called the Airborne. So there's a lot of things that make it, you know, an aeronautical themed watch right there on the back too. Founders edition. So I don't know what that means, considering I just ordered it from them. So I don't know if this is the original model or not. Wire style lugs are not curved at all. Well, maybe there's just a slight subtle curve there. And then the F on the crown here, which is also titanium, knurled here, but you know, it's just kind of an industrial look. The pushers are unique too. So I want to talk about the style because, first of all, it's 11.1 millimeters thick, but it's really curved. It's kind of got this pebble shape, right? Bottom's more flat. There's maybe a little more brushed finish on this middle section. I don't know if that's intentional, but then everything kind of curves and rolls together right into this domed crystal, which is sapphire, I think. You know, the weight and the kind of the presence of this watch on my hand seems to suggest that it's coming from the sapphire crystal there. So I like that. This gray face is the one I actually wanted with the blue. I just thought that was a really unique color combo, and it kind of pops. It works in my opinion. And you know, it's a little more subtle. It looks a little more racy and sporty. Now, the thing that really intrigued me, and it was hard to tell from the pictures, is that the dial is kind of two pieces, and I really love that. You can see here where the numbers, the Arabic numbers for the hours, are all kind of punched out, right? So they're kind of sitting on top of what looks to be like a black back piece, right? And that's really kind of cool because it's kind of unique to Panerai and U-Boat and TCM. I just love that style because it kind of says we're not just going to take the easy way out and apply everything to one dial. You know, to kind of stack something like this is really, it's a unique look, but it's also harder to do because you actually have two fairly large pieces of the dial. It also means you have to have some really precision cuts. And obviously you get the kind of this military stencil-like look because you need to float those middle pieces, the middle piece of the 8, 9, the 0, the 4, and those types of things. Where the 6 would be, you have a date window there. It's not the easiest thing to read. I mean, it's in the double digits right there, but it works. seems to be because of the kind of the dual level nature of this dial. That date window seems to be really sunk in there, so at an angle you start to lose it, as opposed to kind of being pressed right up against the dial itself. It's just kind of the nature of the way they've done it. A little blue pip up there, blue on all the hands here. The center portion of the hour and the minute hands are gray color too. It's kind of like that battleship gray to me. I mean, maybe a little bit brighter, maybe not quite as dark, but I do like that. I think the whole thing works. Now, if you thought there wasn't any lume on this watch, you'd be forgiven, because it doesn't really appear that there is, but there is. The blue on the hands absolutely glows in the dark, so that's pretty cool. You have some minute markings out here, which is kind of important because you do have a stopwatch. Now, I want to get into the Mechaquartz, because I've never owned a Mechaquartz. I'm only vaguely familiar with them. I think they kind of went out of style in the 2000s. They were kind of really in vogue in the 90s when quartz movements came out, and I think Swiss companies were really worried that the quartz movement was going to be the death knell of it. You know, it wasn't, you know, quartz is really superior in a lot of ways in terms of keeping time and being durable and versatile. But one of the problems that they have on quartz movements is when you have a chronograph, you hit, you know, the start button and it kind of ticks off the seconds, and then when you reset it, the chronograph movement, because it's electrical, has to kind of wind the hand all the way back. Sometimes it winds it the long way, sometimes it winds it the short way, but it'll kind of ticks, you know, quickly back to zero. Quartz or mechanical movements can do that very quickly with a flyback mechanism. It kind of snaps that counting hand right back to that top position, as well as you get kind of a more beats per minute, so you get a kind of more of a sliding stopwatch hand. So the Mechaquartz, if I can explain it correctly, is a quartz movement that drives the time, but then they add mechanical pieces to the quartz movement, to that main motor in the quartz movement. So everything outside of keeping the time actually is kind of a mechanical movement, right? So it is really a hybrid. I think this is the Seiko. Oh my gosh, I think it's like the V62. I might have that wrong, but I think Seiko might be the only one making Mechaquartz now. So let me just kind of show you. So you can't really see the hands moving, and you wouldn't necessarily see them moving. So that's being driven by a quartz movement. Now, if I hit the pusher up here, you can see that the chronograph hand is ticking off pretty quickly. You can see it's got incremental steps in between each second, which is nice. The feel of the pusher also feels very mechanical. You get a good, nice, distinct snap there. And so you get a very mechanical feel when you use the pusher. Now, that's going to keep moving around. And the other thing I will show you here is this subdial here, where it says 60, will count off the minutes. So as this gets all the way to the top here, it'll tick off 1 minute. So you can count up to 60 minutes with this subdial and the seconds hand. Now I'm not going to go wait just to demonstrate that, but I'm going to stop it here. And you can see we stopped it. And now if I hit the reset button here, we're going to fly back to that noon position. And that's going to be really thanks to the mechanical portion of the chronograph. You know, it can be driven off the mainspring, I think, in a truly automatic or mechanical movement, but it's being driven off of the quartz motor in this case. So you do kind of get the best of both worlds. You know, if you were just to look at this and play around with it, I don't know that you would know that this is a quartz movement at all, because everything that you kind of interface with and experience feels very mechanical. This subdial right here is interesting because it's obviously 24 hours. This is showing you in military time. This moves as I reset the time there, and we'll show you that. So it's saying right now it's saying it's like 6:39, and you can see here that hand lines up with it. So it's actually saying it's 6:39 p.m., which would be correct. The crown here is screwed down. You can see how flush it is with the case when it's screwed in there. So that adds to the water resistance. I'm going to unscrew it here. Have it pop out. Now the first position I believe is for adjusting the date. So if I roll it, there we go, you can see we can roll over the date. And then the second position out is for adjusting the time. So as I roll over the time, it's 7 o'clock, you can see that 24-hour windows continuing to move, and so you can adjust the time, and that automatically adjusts, and that'll tell you AM or PM. So really, really cool. Kind of get the hands out of the way there so you can see the Ferro Airborne chrono. I'm actually really, really impressed with this watch. It's just better looking than I thought it was going to be. It's 44 millimeters, 11 millimeters. It's 44 millimeters in diameter, not including the crown. I've kind of noticed screwing in the crown could be a little difficult. You got to get it in there, and you know, my fat fingers make it a little difficult. And 11 millimeters thick, so it's kind of the Goldilocks. It's right in the sweet spot of the watch sizes that I like. If we throw it on here, fits nicely, feels good because it's light. It feels nice, and you know, right there on my wrist, even under a dress shirt here, you know, 44 millimeters. I think it looks good. It looks like a watch you would wear. You could wear every day. It doesn't look oversized to me. It's feels really good. You know, the titanium construction just makes watches, especially watches of a certain size, kind of more livable. Now, because the lugs don't curve a lot or bend down or have a really aggressive angle, you can see here that, you know, the band has a little bit of daylight, maybe just a little bit more than I need, but I think it looks good. You know, if they were raked at slightly more angle here, maybe like instead of 20 degrees, maybe closer to 45, it would fit my wrist even better. But in this case, I think you get a lot of vintage look, which unfortunately is just kind of a style I like, man. So, you know, if you're watching my channel, you know that I've got a lot of vintage style. But this looks modern too. You know, this looks like it'd be home, honestly, on a wrist of a dude driving a Porsche or a Ferrari, or you know, or a sports car of some sort, because I think it's a nice looking watch. So even though I was kind of not expecting a whole lot for 350 bucks, I think they've done a really, really nice job. I think for the money, yeah, you're not getting an automatic movement, but you're getting the reliability and accuracy of a Quartz. And man, I think they nailed it. I think it looks great. Now, like I said, I don't know Ferro and Company anything. I paid my own money for this watch, like I do for pretty much every watch I have. But it wouldn't be my last watch for them. And it's actually a little bit of a shame, you know, because I was watching eBay for them or trying to find a good deal on it. You know, there just aren't that many out there. So I'm not actually sure what's up with the company right now. Obviously, they are selling and distributing watches. And I don't know if being in Canada, the exchange rate is hurting them at the moment either. But I haven't seen a lot of reviews out there. I haven't seen a lot of them for sale on the secondary market. But I'll tell you right now, as a watch guy, I really like it. And it's a shame that this is the first time I've actually put one on my wrist and tried it out. This is Peter Von Panda with my Ferro Airborne Mechaquartz gray face, black strap, titanium cased watch. Out!